man Critic back, and well, today is the 10-year anniversary since Five Nights at Freddy's. 10 years ago, a game was developed led by a dude named Scott Coffin, and then a year later they announced that a movie was coming out, and then years of production, and then many other fans out there decided to make their own version of the movie, to make fans, feel better about the constant delays and all that stuff. And I want to talk about the best fan-made FNAF movie I've ever seen. I mean, I've talked about it a bunch on my top 5 fan-made FNAF movies, so you clearly know, and you clearly saw the poster, so you clearly know what I'm talking about. Now, Night 5, made by X-Blue, a fan-made FNAF movie that you can watch in the link in the description, alright? Like, holy hell, this movie, I mean, I know I mentioned it a lot during the top 5 list. Now, X-Blue is a really good fan-made FNAF movie, but I never really properly explained to you about it. I mean, yeah, I did tell you about, like, Jonathan and the actors and all that, but I didn't tell you, like the entire story at best, So let's sit back and watch me review the best fan-made FNAF movie, in recent times. Night 5. So let's just say this though, the movie starts off really, really promising. You get through the studios. Those X-Blue Studios, Studio 64, or yeah, pretty much just you get through the studio part, and then we get introduced to our Michael Afton, not Mike Schmidt. Yeah, this movie really follows from the game lore, not from the movie lore. The movie lore is doing its own universe, with Michael being Mike Schmidt instead of Michael Afton. And, but in this movie, it definitely follows from the games than the books, Anyway, he basically talks to the camera, saying how he's been night guard for about a week, and, and how the animatronics are alive, and they're after him just like they were with Jonathan. And then we see a pair of glowing eyes in the background, and then it cuts to the title card. Oops, sorry. Okay, my light is on the... Anyway, we get like a bunch of a couple of minute recap about basically the game lore. Basically, if you're new to the world of Five Nights at Freddy's, this movie, gives us a bunch of lore drops about like the missing children incident and the 2 co-founders of the pizzeria. Anyway, but it does tell us about about what's happened. Apparently, the original Freddy's location was burglarized by a dude who was dressed up as one of the animatronics. Anyway, basically the news shows zooms out, revealing it's on the TV. We get introduced to Mike and Henry, and Mike he's just basically interviewing for the role of security guard. He's given the badge, and Henry takes a liking to him, and he welcomes him on board. But Mike, well, if you know the game like we do, we know that he has some trouble past, just like in the movie. But instead of losing his brother in a camper site, instead it's basically the game stuff. Anyway, he holds on to this teddy bear that his brother Evan, because this movie came out during the times when we all believed that the name of the crying child was Evan instead of Cassidy or Mike. This was back then when we all believed that the crying child was called Evan. And it is a clever idea, actually. Like, listen, although we don't know about, although the game will never confirm who the crying child is from FNAF 4, and people have theorized who it could be. His name could be Mike, his name could be Cassidy, his name could be Evan. But if this movie, I'm just saying, here's a clever idea. They just kept the name super vague. Like, yes, I know that they had to bring his name up a bunch of times, and, but, I don't know. I just assumed that maybe they could have, kept the name vague. We know who he's grieving over, and therefore they could have just kept the name vague. Whatever. It's just my opinion, really. But, forget it. I mean, it's just because, the game's never going to confirm who the Crown Child is, so might as well just, like, if they're not going to confirm it, then might as well just do the same thing in our movies, am I right? Like, keep the name super vague in the background, you know what I mean? Anyway, we get introduced to William Afton of this movie, and I gotta say, he's no Matthew Willer, but he does do a pretty good job. He comes off as all standoffish and distant from Michael because, he blames him for the death of Evan, like, anyway, Mike just comes around for advice saying, hey, I took the job, I'm gonna look for the missing security guard, Jonathan. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier, apparently Jonathan went missing, and, it's basically Mike's quest to look for him. That's basically his whole goal throughout the movie, to look for Jonathan and to make up for the sins of his past, of what he did to his little brother. Anyway, night one begins, and he heads to the restaurant, and then he gets introduced to, honestly, my least favorite character of the movie. She's kind of rude to Mike, and she's kind of mean to him, just because he woke you up on the clock a few times, even though the company doesn't pay you to sleep on the job. I'm sorry, and I know the company is low on cash and it's going out of business, but come on, you're not being paid to sleep. You're being paid to watch the monitors. Okay, so don't be mean to Mike just because he wakes you up a couple of times on the shift. Oh, anyway, and we get introduced to the movie's first ever mistake.
I'm so sorry, are you okay?
It's all good, dude. I love being rudely awoken when I'm on the clock, getting paid to do nothing.
Oh, I was just told to come in here and you show me the ropes.
Oh, you're the new guy. Right.
Yeah, I'm Mike.
I don't care. You're making a wonderful positive first impression.
Thanks.
You're denser than a black hole.
Those things happen a lot throughout the movie. I mean, I'm not complaining. But I just wanted to point them out for, But, hey, not everything has, like, for God's sakes, have you looked at my videos? I've made edit mistakes like that before, so, we've all done stuff like that. Anyway, so, yeah, I just don't like this character. Hell, I don't even remember her name, actually. I don't even think they say it, Oh, the point is, she's kind of mean to Mike, calling him Black Hole Mike, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like her that much throughout the movie. Yeah, I'm sure she's nice in real life, but I just didn't like her character that much. She was just kind of a dick to Mike, really. Anyway, she explains about the doors and how they run on spring locks, and that's why it takes more power to keep them down to then keep them up, even though it's still stupid, that is. I mean, again, I know it's because they're spring locked and all that, but come on, wouldn't it make more sense to keep a door open? Makes more power. It costs more power to keep a door open than closed, but whatever. Anyway, the robber broke in between the hours of 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. And since the company is coming out of power, you see, the backup power runs on a different generator, and since it has so much juice, in other words, when it's 6 a.m., the other generator kicks in, and don't have to worry about power anymore. Anyway, she basically just shows him the ropes and just says he'll be cleaning up birthday gunk. And that's what he does. This movie takes a page out of Willy's Wonderland, and, Mike cleans up the stuff janitor style, and he realizes there's some indentation on the floor, Anyway, he goes to his shift, he looks at his office, looks at some old computer games from the 1980s or 1990s, I don't freaking know. They really do have a lot of technology from the past, I really liked it. I know I already pointed it out in my top 5 list, but I really did like the camera of this movie, like the edit of this movie. Like, the camera gives you this feeling like they shot it in film. I don't know if they shot it in film, but I think they did. I don't know. Oh, and like the camera, it acts like they shot it in film, and I just think that's pretty cool. Actually, I generally like it. Anyway, he's about to play the Fredbear game, but he's like, nope, and he looks at the nightly training tapes. It's basically like the phone calls from the games. In other words, the training tape just introduces us to the animatronics, and I gotta say, the animatronics do look fantastic. They're no Jim Henson's. I mean, for God's sakes, the Jim Henson's did a better job than this, okay? I mean, don't get me wrong, these animatronics are pretty cool. Well, they must have been expensive. They do look pretty good, pretty creepy. My favorite ones have got to be between Bonnie and Foxy. But I gotta say, they're no Jim Henson. They are Jim Henson will definitely beat these guys in a heartbeat, I'm just saying, Jim Henson, they definitely blew us away with the first batch of animatronics in the first FNAF movie. I can't wait to see their second batch in FNAF 2. Anyway, Mike gets revealed that they move around at night, and, just when the training tape is over, apparently there's another voice coming from the tape, and it's Jonathan, the other night guard, and, he basically just talks about how much he loves the restaurant, how Spring Bonnie was always his favorite, and, he basically just he's basically just being friendly and basically giving Mike clues of where he was last seen. Anyway, Mike he makes a little recording himself, and he's just all like, I'm gonna find Jonathan, Anyway, end of night 1, and I gotta say, night 1 was, it basically, in other words, night 1 is normally a piece of piss in the games. Night 2, Foxy's activated. Night 3, all the animatronics are activated, and things just get harder and harder, Anyway, Mike has a bad dream in a really cool 2D, FNAF 4, or graphics, and it just looks really good. Anyway, he wakes up. He thinks he sees Golden Freddy, but I gotta say that's a pretty good jump scare. That's a pretty good jump scare. But it's just a pile of clothes, All I'm saying is Golden Freddy, he haunts him throughout the entire movie. I mean, we all know that's just the ghost of his brother in the suit, and he's basically haunting him for killing him. But I just really think it's really cool that he's following him around, haunting him, giving him bad dreams. I generally just like this, Anyway, Mike goes to this old place that I don't know what it's called, but where he looks at old articles about the restaurant. And basically looks at the missing children incident. Anyway, night 2 begins, and he looks at the training tape again, and it basically just has like 2 minutes of info on it about blind spots and all that. And it's like, what's the whole point of giving a single clarification if it's on tape? Anyway, Jonathan tells him on the tape. Anyway, shows up on the tape again, and he gotta give the blind spot trick some credit, Anyway, Mike goes to check out the main stage. Bonnie's off stage, and he's just waving his hand around it. I wouldn't put your hand near that animatronic if I were you, Michael. Anyway, find something in parts and service, a piece of paper, and then Golden Freddy shows up, but then it's Chica. And then Mike, he heads back to his office while Bonnie is right outside his door, and he basically comes closer, but Mike, not knowing what these robots are capable of, he closes the door while Bonnie's looking straight at him. Like, that's generally creepy and cool. And Mike, his next night is done, and Mike, he tries to call Jonathan's mother, Nancy, and he basically says he's not a representative of the company. He's just a friend trying to help. Nancy lets him in, gives us some intel about her son, saying how such a sweet boy he is, about helping out a bee when because a bee dies after it stings, and basically being a grieving mother. Anyway, and I gotta say, the dude who's playing Mike, let me just say this, though. He's no Josh Hutcherson, but I gotta say, he's a really good actor. I really think he was very good to play Mike. His acting in this movie is really, really good. I might even say it's even topping Josh Hutcherson, I think this dude's acting, he's honestly just topping Josh Hutcherson. I mean, take a look at this clip where he's leveling on about the whole what happened to his brother Evan. I think it's really good acting coming from him.
I had a little brother, Evan. Fredbear was always his favorite because it reminded him of a little teddy bear he had when he was a kid. He loved that restaurant. But I was jealous because he kept getting all the attention from our dad. So, one day, I took him to the restaurant on his 9th birthday. He was crying, and I decided to bring him up there to give Fredbear a big old kiss. I didn't know the animatronics would act weird to water. It's all my fault. But then they closed down Fredbear's and decommissioned Fredbear and Spring Bonnie to stop bad publicity. I mean, I didn't know that would happen. I mean, no one blamed me. I was a kid too. But I would do anything to have him back. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to help Jonathan. Because what else can I do?
Anyway, Nancy gives Mike the Spring Bonnie plushie, and, you know, it's basically just a way of him being motivated, and you know, he's gonna find him, you know, dead or alive, he's gonna find Jonathan. Anyway, night 3 begins, and this is where things start to get real, you know? Oh, I mean, for God's sakes, Foxy's head is poking out of Pirate's Cove, so you know something's up. Hell, he even starts singing his little song from Fnaf 1. Dum 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 dilly dum 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 dilly dum 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 dilly dum dum dum. You know that thing. Anyway, he listens to the training tape again, and Chica's right outside his door, and he basically closes it, and then he decides to zone out, play a bit of a computer game. He plays that computer game, and, you know, I'm assuming hours go by, and, like, he just zones out, and then when he's shocked back to reality, you know, Golden Freddy's right outside his door, or he freaking trips to the door, and I want you to remember that door's closed right there, okay? Because I'm going to point that out later. Anyway, yeah, because I just want to say this, though, that there's another one of those edits. It's another one of those little animation errors, or errors, you know? You know, just watch this clip. Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see from the picture that door was closed previously, so, yeah. Like, I don't remember him closing that door, so, you know. Oh, anyway, the power's about to go out, and, you know, he's wondering what the hell's happening, and you know, he gets a phone call, and it's Joshua, like, he basically says that he's here, you know, it's me, you know, he's wondering, where the hell is he? Mike wants to know, where the hell is he? He says he's here. Like, where's here? Where's here? Is he in the restaurant somewhere? Anyway, the power goes out, and he takes refuge by hiding under the table. Foxy comes near him and nearly attacks him, and honestly, this part's very creepy, very cool. Well, I like it. Power comes back on, and he flees to his dad Afton's house, and, you know, he basically asks him questions like, why are they moving around? I mean, they don't do that during the day anymore, you know? Oh, and if they're not given a proper night mode, you know, you're implying that they do the same thing in the day, but they don't. They just pretend to be fuzzy, friendly robots. And, you know, Afton, he tries to cover up, saying, hey, I'm the man who built and programmed the animatronics, so I know what's up with them, okay? Hey, and again, really good acting from the dude who's playing Mike.
Or employees or customers.
What is this, the goddamn Terminator? Either you, my dad, living in the middle of podunk nowhere, are the greatest animatronic engineer in the world, or that doesn't make any sense. Because that sounds like some future tech that doesn't even exist right now.
Like, I just love the stuff between Mike and William. Like, Mike's trying to ask him questions of what the hell's happening, and William's trying to either dodge the question or just, you know, basically be the madman that he is and just say, hey, I'm the man who built and created these guys, alright? Anyway, Michael gets a little close, and then William cuts him off, saying, I know what you're doing. Ooh, this conversation's over. Never want to see you here again. Now get the hell off my property. You know? Anyway, and Mike does that, and, you know, he has another bad dream. Even this time, he goes to Pirate's Cove, and, you know, he's greeted by Evan and the ghost of Golden Freddy. He's jump scared back to, you know, and, you know, he just tries to look for clues and figure out why the hell didn't Foxy attack him last night. He had an opening. Why didn't he do anything? Anyway, he heads to the restaurant, and like, you know, he goes to the restaurant, and I gotta say, the people who are in those suits, you know, they're doing a good job pretending to be fuzzy friendly robots. You know, I gotta say, they're really, really good. Like, I'm just saying, it must be pretty. I mean, it must be like they must be sweating underneath those robot suits. I mean, they're not robot suits, but the mascot suits. But you know, they gotta be having a blast doing it. Anyway, Mike accidentally wakes up the other security guard, and, you know, he asks her, hey, I got a pizza, I don't think I'm going to finish the thing, and, you know, he just talks with the other co-workers, you know, basically telling him his experience, like, I don't get it, what's up with them, I mean, Foxy works fine, why is he all torn up, why is Pirates Cove out of commission, even though he works just fine, I heard him playing a song from the Cove the other night. The real question is, why isn't he on about Jonathan? He got a phone call from Jonathan. Like, why doesn't he just tell Nancy, hey, Nancy, hey, listen, I got a phone during my shift. I got a phone call from your son, and he's alive. I don't know where he is. He says he's here, but I don't know where here was, you know? I don't know why he doesn't confront his co-workers, tell him what happened on night 3, you know? Anyway, they all think he's just being bullshit. He's just bullshitting them, and, you know, he's just creating fan fiction about the robots, and, you know, and then Mike comes to realization that maybe they want help, but with what? Anyway, night 4 begins, and you know, he talks to the freaking robots like they're ordinary people. They technically are. They're possessed by the souls of the dead kids. You know, he just says, hey, I just want to help you guys, even though I'm going to find Jonathan and stuff. I still want to help you. And then he comes to the realization, like, who am I kidding? I'm talking to robots like it's it's normal. Well, anyway, he finishes training tape 4, and you know, Josh, he basically like spills the beans about like he's almost out of power. We get a hint of what could have been Jonathan's fate, and all I'm saying is the look on Mike's face just sums it up, because we can hear him scream, and like Mike hears the sound of like something being dragged, and he's all like, what the hell is that sound? Anyway, we get this really cool scene, and honestly, one of my favorite parts of the movie, where we get this cool montage where Mike's all like, come at me, and, you know, it's basically this just cool montage of, you know, oh, the animatronics get into his office. Basically Five Nights at Freddy's it is, you know? I mean, at first, Mike's all like, this has to be a nightmare, this can't be for reals, you know? Both animatronics are on both sides of his door. You know, he gets hallucinations from Golden Freddy being like, it's real, but then he snaps out of it, and then we get introduced to the cool old montage where he's, you know, basically playing Five Nights at Freddy's. And I gotta say, best part of the movie, that is. Now that is just good fan service, that is. Anyway, power runs out. Mike's pretty much boned, and Freddy drags him by his leg, drags him out of the office, and just when they're about to kill him, the power magically comes back on, and Mike's ass is saved. Anyway, Mike grabs the training tapes and get the hell out of the restaurant. Well, and then, you know, he goes back to his house, and, you know, he listens to training tape 5. And nothing happens. Like, no recordings, no nothing, just some strange radio sounding noise. And, you know, he goes back to tape 4, you know, as much as he feels heartbreaking about what could have been Jonathan's fate, he's all wondering, what the hell is that sound? It sounds like something being dragged. Anyway, night 5 begins. Anyway, he heads to the restaurant, and, you know, he basically moves the tables around, being all like, this is it, nothing comes close. And once again, really good acting from the dude who's playing Mike. Like, again, this dude just sells it.
What is this? Huh? What's your end goal here? What are you hiding? Where is he? Where is he? What are you hiding? What are you hiding?
Anyway, just when Mike's just about to give up, you know, he notices the indentation on the floor. Good foreshadowing since night 1. Anyway, he heads inside, and it's revealed that room is actually a secret door. He flashes his light and discovers that Jonathan is in there. They're stuffed in a suit, stuffed in the Shadow Freddy suit. He drags him out of there, and, you know, the power goes out, and he's all like, something must be messing with us. I don't know what the hell's happening. And you know, he's freaking out because the animatronics are off stage, power's out, and then he goes to the camera, setting up basically from the beginning of the movie. I'm just saying, love the callbacks. It's just really good. Anyway, we now know what the glowing eyes were. It was Golden Freddy, you know. Anyway, Golden Freddy, he comes to Mike, you know, teleports in, grabs him by his neck, and, you know, I'm just saying, like, you know, he basically says, "I'm sorry, Evan," and you know, Golden Freddy, which we all know is possessed by Evan, and, you know, he realizes that, you know, he lets him go, and, you know, Mike puts together that's Evan, and, you know, and then we get another flashback that's shown in this animation, really cool, shows us basically what happens in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, basically the bite, in other words,
Was that the bite of 87?
wrong, Markiplier, more like the bite of 83. Anyway, he basically just shows us how his whole guilt trip thing was, and, you know, basically what happened to him after Evan's death, and, you know, how he's been feeling so sad and so depressed. Anyway, the animatronics let him go. He leaves the restaurant, and then, you know, he puts Jonathan in the car, and then he's confronted by his father, William, who basically spills the beans about how he's the one who did it. He's the one who killed all those children that were never found and stuffed them in the suits. And I've been complimenting the dude who's playing Michael. Now I'm going to compliment the dude who's been playing William. I tell you, this dude, he's no Matthew Willer, but I do certainly say he does definitely give off a great William Afton vibe.
See, Mike, whether you believe me or not, there is no better feeling in the world than watching the life fade from someone's eyes. I was running a business, a magical place where kids and adults alike could have fantasy and fun come to life. And that business brought in a lot of foot traffic, too. You don't think that I wouldn't take advantage of that every now and then, do you? And I did. And it was amazing. You know what the best part about killing somebody is? They don't come back. Then you get to sleep peacefully at night knowing that you personally ended someone's entire existence. But you know what I don't understand? Is how the hell you and those things in there are still alive.
I'm just saying, like, and he even reveals about, like, how Michael was scooped, the sister location, you know? Like, how he almost got killed in one of his side businesses a couple of years back, you know? Oh, and Mike doesn't remember. Yeah, I forgot to mention that the dude who's playing Mike, he wears, like, makeup showing that he's actually a corpse, like, showing that he's been scooped, he's had entered inside him, and he spat him out and all that, you know? I'm just saying, that's good fan service, that is. Anyway, he tells Michael to get the fuck out of there before he tried killing him once, and he's gonna do it again if he doesn't leave. Anyway, Mike drives off, realizing who his father was. He wasn't just some grieving, overbearing, workaholic dad. He was a monster, a dude who basically took life away from innocent children and stuffed them in suits, and they possess the robots now. Anyway, William goes to his car, revealing what happened to the Springlock Bonnie suit. Anyway, Mike and Nancy are both at a glorified urgent care, which apparently they couldn't go to a hospital because there's a cause in Johnny's contract saying he can't go to the hospital for any kind of injury on the job. I tell you, Fazbear Entertainment, they got damn good lawyers. Anyway, Michael puts together why didn't they attack him last night? Like, their souls must still be trapped. He goes to the restaurant saying that, Jonathan's not the only one who's still suffering in the hands of Fazbear Entertainment. Anyway, Henry's there waiting for him, angry at him, wondering what the hell's happened. And apparently, William has been busy when Mike left. Anyway, his co-workers think that he did it. Like, even if he didn't do it, he still let it happen on his watch. And, Henry spills the beans saying, they move around at night. And then his co-workers are like, wait, what? You never mentioned that. Anyway, and then Mike reveals about, he found Jonathan, He found Jonathan, and the room that, it's a door and it opens. He tries to reveal it, but it's been sealed off. Clearly, Henry knows what's happened, and he's just pretending, so he doesn't look like the bad guy, so he doesn't get sued or anything. He's trying to put all the blame onto Michael. Well, classic Fazbear Entertainment. And anyway, he tells Mike to get pack his shit and fuck off. And if he leaves now, maybe he won't press charges. Anyway, he leaves the company, and Anyway, my least favorite character, she actually sees the light a little bit and gets out of bitch mode, and actually reveals that maybe Fazbear Entertainment isn't all innocent as it is. That Henry is being very sus. Anyway, Mike goes back to the hospital, or glorified urgent care, and sees Jonathan, sees him alive. Yeah, originally they were going to kill Jonathan off, but considering the fact that Mike was so gung-ho on trying to find him, if they found him dead, Mike's whole journey would have been pointless. And let's be honest here, people have survived much, much, much worse. I mean, Jonathan, he lived in a wall for a week and a half, wearing an animatronic suit that impaled him with robot parts every time he moved, with no food, no water, no bathroom. I'm just saying, and people, they have survived much worse. I can't prove it, but people, take my word that people have kind of survived much worse than that. Anyway, he gives Jonathan his Spring Bonnie plushie, and, they just talk a bit about how, how Jonathan can't really hate himself. He can't really hate the animatronics. It's his nostalgia talking. And then, he can't really hate himself, even though the stupid robot stuffed him in a suit. He can't really hate him. It's his nostalgia talking. And, anyway, they just talk for a bit, saying how memories live on and all. And here's the part of the movie that, in my opinion, not my personal favorite part of the movie. Mike visits Evan's grave, and the camera is a bit jittery. Apparently their footage was a bit on the, I don't know, they have a good explanation in their commentary of why that was, but I'm not complaining about that, okay? Anyway, I already talked about it in the top 5 list anyway, he sees the ghost of Evan, and then, he basically, talks like a computer. I guess they couldn't get another voice actor to voice him. And again, in my opinion, I really wish that Evan didn't talk. In my opinion, I feel like Evan should have stayed silent. Show don't tell, actions speak louder than words. When Mike's apologizing, Evan, he hugs him, and then, in a way, Mike thinks that they are definitely fine, Show don't tell, Anyway, we see Henry throwing away a tape, clearly, trying to, cover up his tracks. And, Evan goes away, and, Mike puts Evan's teddy bear on his grave, and, he just walks off narrating, and then we get to the credits. It should have played Living Tombstone, if you ask me, for the credits, but then again, and, maybe they just couldn't. I'm just saying, I would have loved it if they played Living Tombstone in the credits. I mean, eventually the Fnaf movie would actually do that, but still. Anyway, but here's the next thing I want to talk about. There's an end credit scene where they get the wall, and turns out William Afton, now possessing the Springtrap suit, he's alive. And then they go to the credits, and that was Night 5, a fan-made FNAF movie, and I gotta say, still love it. I just gotta say, if this was an actual prototype for the fan-made, if this was the prototype for the OG FNAF movie, I gotta say, it's pretty damn good. It's filled with a shit ton of fan service. It's the actors are pretty good. I mean, this whole fan-made movie started off because they rebuilt the FNAF 1 location, all part of a YouTube video of playing Five Nights at Freddy's in real life. And they figured, hey, we got the suits, we got the location, fuck it, let's make a movie. And they did it, and I gotta say, it's amazing. I straight up freaking love this fan-made FNAF movie, okay? I just straight up love it. I mean, it follows on the game lore, not the book lore, just the game lore, and I love it. I gotta say, the actors, fantastic. Animatronics, they're no Jim Henson. Jim Henson can beat these guys in anything, but they're still pretty good. Location's pretty good. Their editing, on the other hand, like I already mentioned in the list, like for the animatronics, they like Photoshop like bolts coming out of the elbows and parts, but they can be a bit jittery sometimes. But hey, all in all, I still thought they did their best on that one. Again, go check these guys. Go check this fan-made movie out. Let's just say if you can't afford to see the FNAF movie, then go check out this fan-made version. I say, okay, it's not better than the FNAF movie, no doubt. Okay, the FNAF movie will always be awesome. I mean, one of Blumhouse's best creations. Oh, but this, in terms of fan-made and fan service, game lore, basically something you want to watch if you're in the FNAF mood, I say go watch it. Link it in the description, guys. Link it in the description, okay? Go check these guys out. A lot of credit to these guys, okay? Anyway, this is the F-Man Critic telling you to like, subscribe, hit notification, and 10 years of Five Nights at Freddy's. Holy crap. See ya!